Hello and welcome to Creating Canon with your hosts AJ Hamilton and Nosferatu Constant Steak Pappas. I'll give you that. I'll give you the Pappas.
The Pappas?
Yeah.
Okay. That's usually the one you mess up, isn't it?
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
Also, listeners, I don't know if you know this. My middle name is Constantine.
Oh!
That's what the C stands for.
I thought it was Constant Steak.
No.
What?
Nicholas C. Pappas. Brooch.
And Nicholas C. Pappas.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
If only I would do that every single time, we wouldn't have to go through this. This ridiculousness.
But I think this is why people listen.
This opening part?
That's it.
Where I screw up your name?
Yeah, everyone who I know who listens to the podcast listens only for that.
Oh, well that's, they're done quick.
Yeah.
Well, please keep listening.
It's mostly because they hate you.
Oh, ow. Mean. Well, that's fair. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's,
But I am everybody's cup of coffee.
Oh, and I'm everybody's vial of blood.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Did
because
you?
The movie we're doing today is
Nicholas.
1980s.
Oh, yes.
Last Rites.
Last Rites.
Last Rites.
Nice. It has nothing to do with that song that we
No,
just
I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, that feels like the beginning of like Footloose or something like that.
Gotta cut last rites.
Yeah, that one.
Kick off your Sunday fangs. What? No, that's stupid. It's AJ, you did a great job with the blood and the Nosferatu constant steak.
I'm trying to tie it all together.
Yeah, because this movie, its video title is Dracula's Last Rites.
Yeah.
Which I think we mentioned it last week on the episode, but it was available on Prime as of the recording.
Right.
Amazon Prime. So it's a movie from 1980, even though Prime says it's from 2007, which I think is hysterical.
That's amazing. And also, you can pretty much tell by the quality that it's from 1980.
You mean the fact that
it's a VHS transfer
again! It's a VHS transfer.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, not hard on the eyes at all.
No.
Doesn't make me miss 4K.
No, not
whatsoever.
At all. You know, I really miss tracking, like the little tracking bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's
beautiful.
The masking on the transfer was incredible.
It looked like it was just ratty gaff tape over the side of it.
Yeah, but like half the gaff tape was scraped away because it wasn't a straight line. It was like, it's like the side of California.
Pretty much.
I don't know why that's what I came up with, but I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, it's jagged in places.
Yes,
no, I get you. No, it works. It works.
Oh my god. This one though.
Hey. Yeah, this one. What was it about?
Oh my gosh! All right. So we're gonna try to do something different.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So usually I use some sort of like movie phone voice or whatever. So I'm gonna do this plot like I am the writer, whose name is Domonic Paris. Domonic Paris is the writer director. And Ben Donnelly was the co-script writer.
Okay.
Some interesting facts about Domonic Paris, but we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah.
Well, we can just start there.
Sure, why not?
He basically wrote and directed a movie called Splits.
Splits.
Sure. Directed this movie called Bad Girls in the Movies. And then disappeared off the face of the earth until like the last 5 or 6 years, where he has been making children's animated films.
Oh.
He wrote Fly Me to the Moon 3D. He didn't direct them, just wrote Fly Me to the Moon 3D. A Turtle's Tale 1 and 2.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think Turtle's Tale 1 is like Sammy's Adventure. Why do I know this? I don't know. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. And then he did recently like a Treasure Island remake and something else. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, so like he's making a living doing animated films.
He found his calling. So you're going to read it as him?
So what it is I am pitching the movie, all right?
Okay, yeah.
All right, okay.
I like it.
All right.
Okay.
Picture this. All right, there's a town. It's a small town. It's in like New York or something. I don't fucking upstate New York, right? Yeah, it's upstate New York.
Sure, we have land up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Right, and it's just so there's a doctor, and
seems right for a
sheriff.
small town.
Yeah. Just listen though. Hold on. Listen.
Sure. Yeah.
And a mortician.
Okay.
Right. It's got to be a mortician, because here's the thing: they're all vampires, right? They're vampires and they're hungry, but they don't want to kill people. Like go kill people, because then they'll get caught. So what they do? Listen. Hold on.
Yeah.
What they do is they find people who are close to death and they bring them to the mortician's office, and they each take a turn sucking their blood.
Sure. And where does it go from there?
Oh,
is it just them?
No. Wait, listen. No. So what happens is like an old lady gets away because
an old lady.
Yeah, they forget to stake her.
Why?
Well, what happens is the son-in-law figures it all out,
right?
And then
there's a son-in-law.
Yeah, it's the old lady's. I'm so sorry. The old lady
has
a daughter who's got a husband.
Right.
He figures it out.
Great.
Yeah. And then he kills all the vampires.
So is this a 15-minute movie?
Hour and 25 minutes, roughly.
Oh.
And they can go in the sun, but they can't go in the sun.
So they are vampires, but they can go in the sun.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
But they need makeup.
Well, naturally. Yeah, no, I guess that'll make sense to the audience. Here's $5.
Great.
Cool.
I'll get you your change back when I'm done filming. And scene.
Yeah, that's about
what's
about right.
Really funny is like now that I'm thinking about this could actually be our shortest episode ever, because that was literally
there's not much more.
Everything.
Yeah. Like we said, it's a VHS transfer, so it's so goddamn blurry, and also what we didn't have in the last episode, A Bridge to Hell, was the audio wasn't nearly as bad in that transfer. It was still bad.
Right.
But this one, we had to put subtitles on, which I was so surprised that they had them.
Yeah, that's true.
That was amazing.
Well, I think, to be fair to the transfer peoples, I don't think the problem was with the audio transfer. I think the problem was with the fact that they were using the camera, the microphone in the camera.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because there was one time where one character was across the room and it was like, and then the character standing next to the camera was like, yes, I hear you. I hear the things you are saying to me and they make sense.
Well, it's realistic 3D sound.
Right. That's a plan.
You just didn't understand the 5.1 surround sound.
Yeah, exactly.
That they were working on.
They were working off of.
Yeah. Okay. So to be fair, this movie starts kind of intriguingly.
Yeah, actually, well,
kind of.
Yeah.
It looks about as good as an 80s episode of The EastEnders. You know that really bad British shows that were just
a little bit of upstairs, downstairs, but modernized.
That's right. And oh my god, blurry, and the two actors.
Wait, I want to go
bad.
actually one step.
Okay,
wait,
sure.
Hold on. Those two actors were bad. Every actor was bad.
Agreed.
There was not one good actor in this movie, and I'm so sorry, but it's just the truth.
No.
But the thing that I actually want to go all the way back to,
okay,
before the first shot, which is what you were talking about.
Yes.
This movie does nothing but steal from other horror movies.
That's true.
And we're going to take a journey on those.
Oh, yes.
But the opening theme is basically a bad knockoff of the Halloween theme song.
Yeah, yeah.
This was like a really weird bad version.
It's a dulled down version. Yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to get that out there first.
No, thank you.
There's like 9 things that this steals from, and I want to hit every single one of them along the way.
We will get them in due time.
Yeah.
It opens up, and it's these two characters. They drive up in an old sort of sports car.
I think, to be fair, for the time, the sports car was new.
Yeah.
It's old to us.
Old to yes, exactly.
Because, I think it's supposed to be like a new, fast, awesome car.
It does. It looks like a good, fast car. Yes, you're right. And they have this conversation that I feel should be taught, just the dialogue, should be taught in an acting class. Because it's very interesting. It's engaging. It's two people having opposing wants, needs.
Objectives.
Objectives. And you don't don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the objectives are.
Yeah.
It's well-crafted dialogue.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting that you say it belongs in an acting class. And it's weird because it's only the opening dialogue. None of the rest of the dialogue in the movie counts.
Not at all.
This should ever be seen again. But the opening dialogue should be in a writing class because it really builds an interesting mystery. It's a nice mystery. It went on a little bit long.
Sure.
But it was definitely like...
Done by better actors, it would be engaging.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the dialogue was definitely like, I don't know, we shouldn't do this. Why? We should do it. I got to prove to... Like, it's just back and forth.
Yeah.
And it was just really nice in that I think the bad version of this... Well, it comes to find out that it's about a drag race.
Drag race, right.
She's like, it could kill us, and we need to be careful. And I think the bad version of the scene would be like, Billy, I don't want you to participate in the drag race because it could be dangerous for you know what I mean? Like that thing. So,
right. But they started with a little mystery.
Yeah, and I also thought the camera work in that scene wasn't too bad either. Like through the car windows and the way the each actor was framed by the other actor and the car window.
Very much.
I thought it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do too. And some of the establishing shots were okay. They were a little shaky, but they were still good. And when they finally got to the race, they filmed that quite well.
Especially,
I mean, it's not Fast and Furious, but it's still good. It didn't disappoint.
No, well, and I think, I mean, we made a joke about it where you said, I'll give you $5, and I said, I'll give you your change tomorrow.
Yes.
I mean, if this movie was made for more than, like, we couldn't find any numbers on it, but I'm guessing if it was made for anything more than, like, 20 grand, I would be shocked.
Agreed. All of that going to the actors. Maybe not.
Then they spent the wrong place. Yeah, that for such a low budget movie, the car chase scene was great.
Yep.
And then, of course, they do get into the accident.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
And of course, they couldn't wreck that nice of a car at the time.
But
so
that car crash was filmed really well. Like,
with the rolling camera.
And the close-ups of the actor sort of rolling. And I felt like what they did a good job of was they put us in the place of the people in the car.
Yeah, it was visceral. You really felt it.
And again, it was one of those things where I'm assuming that scene was filmed for, $0.00 beyond, the film.
Maybe the pink slip of the car.
Yeah, basically. Which was really interesting because they didn't need to destroy the car. They didn't need to have it explode. They didn't need to have all of that shit that's in a lot of movies to make that moment effective. We got it. We understood. It was, for what it was thrilling.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
That's about it. And the rest of the movie goes downhill from there.
Pretty much.
But then, all right, if you didn't know this was called Dracula's Last Rites, as it's referred to on Amazon, rather than Last Rites, as it was originally released, you would see the next sequence is the guy has died. The girl is still alive.
But barely.
They put her into the ambulance. That was actually a fairly well choreographed scene as well.
Yeah.
Good details. They put her in the ambulance. They drive her to the mortuary.
Yep.
What?
And there's a sign outside the mortuary that AJ was trying to figure out what it said.
Well, first of all, very blurry again.
Yeah, to be fair.
And that was the longest zoom in I've ever seen. It was
that was 7 minutes of the runtime.
Oh it just kept zooming closer and closer and never got any clearer.
Yeah.
But what did it say?
Well, it said A. Lucard Funeral Home. Like A. Dot, like his first name was A and his last name was Lucard Funeral Home.
Yep.
And as it's zooming in, AJ was like, what does that say? What does that say? I was like, it's Dracula backwards. And he looked at me like, how the fuck did you see that? And honestly, I don't know.
It just came to you.
It just came to me.
It was part of your life.
Like a dream. Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Amazing. So we're questioning, wait, if she's still alive, why is she going to the funeral home?
Right.
That's kind of crazy. They take her into this sterile white room and lay her down on a sort of an operating table.
That was lit from underneath.
Underneath, yes, exactly. Like the life force table, right?
Yeah, like a life force table or like a little bit of an altar.
Yes. And who comes in then?
Fuck if I know.
It's Lucard. It is the sheriff.
The doctor?
The doctor and a couple of henchmen.
Yeah, the one henchman that looked like Richard Keel.
Right,
but shorter.
Yep.
And with a different face.
So spot on.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because as I said it, I realized he looks nothing like Richard Kiel, but also he looks everything like Richard Kiel, right? Is that fairly, like,
yeah.
Is
like
that,
a cross
weirdly accurate?
A cross between Richard Kiel and Richard Kind.
A couple of dicks.
Oh, God.
Man.
Yeah, and it turns out, what do? They bite her on the neck.
And they suck her blood.
Suck her blood. Then, right afterwards, as if this is some sort of ritual, as you said, they go to a cabinet on the wall, take out a black stake, and stake it through her vampire heart before she's had a chance to change.
Turns.
So that's established. Yep. Let's just say that that's established.
Great.
Is their M.O.
Yeah, and
right?
then all of a sudden we cut to Mrs. Bradley?
Mrs. Bradley laying on
a couch,
yes.
and the doctor being like, "Oh, yeah, no, she's dead." Just in time for her daughter, Marie Fonda, to come in and be like, "Mama!
Just killed a man!
Put a stake into his heart!"
It's going to be a very musical episode,
I know,
folks.
Right? Oh, my God. I'm so sorry you have to listen to us sing.
Yeah. Also, she has a striking resemblance to Shelley Duvall.
Yes, she does.
She's got crazy spider fingers and that dreaded
wispy
face. Yeah.
Wispy everything. Anyways, she's like, "Don't cover her face!" And the doctor's like, "I have to cover her face.
She's dead.
She's dead."
Sorry.
And then Mr. Lucard, who is the funeral director, basically comes in and says, "Hey, listen, shut up. I have to take her.
Yep.
It's the law. You have to sign her over to me."
Sure.
So Marie Fonda signs over her mother to Mr. Lucard's care.
Of course.
Shortly after, Mr. Fonda comes home.
Ted Fonda.
Ted Fonda.
Yep. Distant relatives of Peter.
May he rest in peace.
Yes, indeed.
Ted Fonda comes home and is basically like, "Listen,
Listen.
we don't gotta have a wing ting to do the thing where your mother has to go to the funeral home. Listen, your mother, we could have her funeral here."
What did I say about him halfway through the movie?
What is it? "This is not my favorite actor."
This is my least favorite actor.
Yeah, that was what it was. I laughed so hard when you said that.
He's so bad.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, the accenty thing that I just used might have sounded like I was making fun of, like, some sort of stereotype or race.
Yeah.
To be clear, like, he's a white dude.
Yeah.
With that, like, Baba Wata thing.
Yeah, he's got, like, marbles in his mouth or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And the emotional range of Vin Diesel.
Or Tommy Wiseau. Actually, Tommy Wiseau
has range, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
"You're tearing me apart, Marie." Oh, boy.
"You're literally tearing me apart, vampire."
Oh, hello, Lucard. We're punch drunk today.
Yeah, a little bit. So there becomes a back and forth between Ted.
This was my favorite part of the movie.
What? Oh,
where I was like... So Ted basically calls up Lucard and says, like, "You have to bring my mother-in-law back." Mm-hmm. And Lucard is like, "No, absolutely not. It's the law.
Yep.
You cannot have her back." Phone call. This is a phone call, by the way. In that phone call, we noticed that you could see the lighting equipment and the camera equipment in the frame, where there's a point where Marie has to walk up the stairs and she steps over the lighting equipment.
C-stands and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was amazing.
And I don't think that they thought that they were going to need that much headroom in that shot, because they raised up, and rather than seeing a boom mic, which of course they weren't using, you could see the bottom of the lights.
Yeah.
And that was pretty consistent throughout the movie.
Yeah. Well, also, too, then Ted Fonda is like, "I'm going to come over there and speak to you, Mr. Lucard."
Yep.
He goes over to the funeral home, and then we cut to inside the funeral home.
Yes.
And inside the funeral home...
His office,
everywhere in the funeral home.
That's true.
It's clearly a set that was built because you could see the scaffolding.
Yeah, they didn't cut
and there
off
was
that
no
either.
ceiling. It was amazing.
It just... Oh, my God.
It was amazing. The bracing beams were there. You could see, like, the studio walls. It's all, like, clearly there. which was a bummer.
Yeah, because otherwise this was a perfect film.
Yeah, because that was the thing that really broke the reality for me.
Yeah. There is probably 15 minutes of this where they go back and forth between the funeral home and their home.
It's the mother-in-law
home, having meetings in person or on the phone about whether or not they get their mother back.
Yeah, well, and eventually what happens is the assistant to the funeral home, which this was
like
so
the driver
unclear
or something,
was like, yeah, no, I'll just toss her in the truck and I'll bring her home. When Mr. Lucard wasn't there.
Oh, that guy with the gum.
Oh yeah.
Also, we never see that guy again.
I thought he
maybe
was there
once
at the end.
I don't think so.
That thing was so unclear because I didn't know who that guy was. All of a sudden, he existed, and then he didn't exist anymore.
No. Yeah.
And you would think that Lucard would only hire people who knew he was a fucking vampire, considering how many people he knew was a fucking vampire.
He has at least 16 of them.
Yes, because his radio calls up to 16 people.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Oh, man. So they get the body back to the mother-in-law's house where they want to have the wake. And how sweet.
And Lucard shows up and is like, Mr. Fonda, you have to bring the body back. It's the law. Mr. Lucard, we are not going to bring the body back. You listen here, Mr. Fonda. No, you listen here, Mr. Lucard. No, you listen here, Mr. Fonda. Mr. Lucard. Mr. Fonda. Lucard. Fonda.
Oh, Mr. Lucard. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Mrs. Fonda.
Hello, my husband, Mr. Fonda.
Yeah. Literally, no joke. They said each other's names 7 or 8 times in that 2-minute
in that
argument.
one conversation.
To which point I looked at AJ and I was like, wait, what are their names? What's going on?
I mean, at least there wasn't that problem. Although I did forget that her name was Marie.
Yes, you did. You did. Well, because we established Lucard and Fonda, and that was it. Mm-hmm. Oh, the other thing that it kept doing until... So I actually have a theory.
Okay.
Because they kept doing that weird, like, showing the establishing shot of the funeral home.
Yeah.
And then using a bunch of the dialogue from inside the funeral home.
That was interesting.
So I'm wondering if they actually had so much unusable footage because you could see so much over the top of their heads that they just took that dialogue and placed it.
You don't think
it
was just ominous? No, I think you're right.
It could have been. I mean, I don't know. Right. It's one of those things where, like, I honestly don't know.
Is it stylistic or is it necessity?
Yeah.
That just, we need to make it look a little bit less shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, we checked the time, and I know we checked the time because I wrote it down, and we were 30 minutes in, and I thought to myself, like, this movie, it really spins its wheels to the point where, like, this first 30 minutes could have been done in 15 10 even?
Yeah.
They just
because
kind of
there's so much back and forth.
Well, yeah, they just sort of established the same thing over and over and over again. And I think they were trying to ramp up tension, but they did not. They ramped down tension.
No, this was paced all wrong. I think.
One of the things that I didn't understand was we established this fucking ritual that happened where persons near death, they drink the blood and then they stake that person.
Right. So when they did have possession of the body of the mother,
they drank her blood.
But
didn't stake her for whatever reason.
Didn't stake her. And that seemed to be, I agree. I don't know why you would have that opening shot of all of the preparation and they even did something really cool. We didn't even talk about it after they staked the girl's heart.
Oh, yeah, the one who died in the car accident.
Right. You pointed this out.
Shortly after the car accident.
Yeah. After they took the blood, they put, what was it? Like plugs?
In a funeral home, when they embalm the body, they stick in like I think it's called a troch bar.
A big needle.
It's like a gigantic needle. And then afterwards, they have to plug that up because otherwise there's other leakage or stuff like that. So they actually have like troch plugs that they put into the body. They went ahead and put 2 of those troch plugs in the neck and then covered up with makeup. And then they put one...
Like putty or something like that.
Like a putty in the
stake
wound.
Yeah.
So in case anyone saw it...
Yeah.
You know, they were covered.
Which seems like they are very detail-oriented.
And careful.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an easy fix. All you had to do was they sucked the blood from the girl, and then they waited for her to turn. And once she started turning, they stake her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because then you could sort of explain away how they took the blood from the mother-in-law, and then they were waiting to stake her, like waiting for her to turn, but then her body was taken first.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in.
Have it be a break in between her. I don't know how you would necessarily show the passage of time, but there are smarter people than me that could have figured that out.
You can show the passage of time easy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a hard thing.
Well, but for that opening thing, yeah, I know. There are ways around it. Absolutely.
I mean, literally, all they have to do is everybody starts walking out of the room, and Lucard just goes to one of his henchmen, wait for her to,
Remember,
know the deal.
yeah.
You wait here. You're on watch duty tonight.
Sure. Yeah. Some sort of, yeah.
And that's thinking about it for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And that's a fix, right?
Absolutely.
If you're actually writing the script, you can come up with a better fix.
You'd think so. And so they get the body back to the home. Mm-hmm. And Lucard is so angry. He wants, although he never really gets super pissed until the very end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would have expected some sort of, I am so angry. Go and get them. Go. I don't know. He's just always a very tepid fellow.
He's
throughout most
Dracula. I mean, he's been around for 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's
none
true.
of this is all fine.
This is all boring
he
to
can
him.
Figure it out.
So he sends his
Richard Keel henchman.
Yes, exactly.
The Keel kind, not Keel kind henchman.
To steal the body back.
Dude breaks into the house, gets into a fight with Ted Fonda. Ted Fonda chucks him out a window.
Yeah.
He lands on the fucking fence.
Yes.
Straight through.
Oh my god. And I thought, oh man.
Death Wish.
I thought Death Wish.
Dish Wish?
Dish Wish 2. And also the Red Lady.
The Lady in Red Kill 7
Lady
times?
in Red Kill 7 times. Yes.
I thought the same thing.
I mean, we've got some running themes. I just love it when that is a way that they use to kill people.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do think it was super fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so and then the sheriff comes.
Sheriff comes, ambulance driver comes, everybody loads this guy into there. Ted is pissed because he thinks that Lucard is coming for the body in some freaky way, and so he goes back to sleep.
Listen. We can't have that body taken. Listen, Widow Wyan boy.
So everybody goes to their separate corners, and they think it's done for the night.
Yeah. And all of a sudden...
Ooh,
Mrs. Bradley.
In pure black, blurry black.
To be fair,
you cannot...
It wasn't pure black. It was more of a videotape gray.
That's true.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Old videotape gray.
Yeah, if you kept it on the pause screen of night, and you're like, that's very bright still.
Yeah. Mrs. Bradley comes out, and she looks sort of like, what's the hip-hop granny from...
Right.
From, she was in Wedding Singer, but
also American Drive-In.
If that woman...
was crossed with Beetlejuice.
Oh, I was going to say, if she fucked Mick Jagger and they had a child.
Threesome.
The three of them. Because that's what she looks like.
Fucks Mick Jagger, and that child is possessed by Beetlejuice.
There you go.
There it is.
That's it. And she just sort of disappears and starts walking the town.
That's generous. She just appears in a barn later.
Oh my god, that was my favorite shot of the movie, because it was kids playing outside the barn. Oh slow pan to the barn door. And then the pull out so we could see the entire barn. And then they zoomed back into the barn door. All one static shot.
Yeah.
And then cut inside the barn.
And then there's this long pan across random shit in a barn. And then we get to the old lady, and she's sort of just standing there with her arms out. And
she's like, oh.
Nothing happens.
These are hands. These are hands. That's all she does. She walks around with her hands out. It's weird.
Those children are not killed?
Nope. Neither is the child who is taking out the garbage later in the movie that she comes across. Which, by the way, talking about stealing from horror movies, basically is without the killing part.
Yeah.
The little girl in the flower with the flower and Frankenstein.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, exactly. She's not a very I know that she's an old woman, but she's not a very threatening vampire. Do you think that this is her going through the whole transformation, or do you think that this is how she acts as a vampire?
This is... I don't know, but this is a really funny question.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's making me laugh so hard. Yeah, no, I think it's just the fact that nobody really thought about anything.
Agreed.
Well, do we see any other vampire turn in the movie? Person turn from vampire to from non-vampire to vampire?
No, because the kid who almost drowns that Lucard really
Killed in
wants.
the stake right away.
Yeah,
The
he
stake
gets
right away.
staked. No, we don't.
Okay, because I was going to say, none of the other vampires are so passive. All the other vampires are very much like, ah!
Yeah, even if they don't have their teeth in.
Yes.
Which
happened a couple of times.
Copula did not have his
Copula.
teeth in. And then there's Dr. Acula. I mean, I don't think that they had the
There
money.
was Scott Bakula.
Scott, yes, right.
There was Scott Bakula was not in this movie.
I
just
know,
to be fair.
which is a shame. He would have been the best.
Well, actually, I really like the. All of a sudden, the fence guy comes back. He's alive. The one who stabbed through the stake.
What the hell? I thought that had like actually taken him out, but maybe it missed his heart.
Missed his heart.
I don't know.
And then Marie, back to Marie, is having trouble sleeping. So Ted calls the doctor and is like, "Hey, you got to get over here right away. So give my wife something to sleep." The doctor doesn't even knock; just walks in.
Well, what's his actual name?
That's what I was going to get to. He doesn't even knock;
God.
just comes right in. And the doctor's name is Dr. Cummins. Because he just come in.
Which is actually a great play on the vampire trope of needing to be welcomed in.
Well, I actually thought the same thing in that I think that's why he's able to just walk in is
because they've invited him.
They've invited him
in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He walks upstairs, and in the weirdest, grossest moment I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yep.
Well, first of all, the lighting.
It was ugly. Everything is like yellow.
Yeah. Well,
so yellow.
But there was like a weird hot spot right on Marie, who I want to point out is a fucking sleep.
Correct.
The doctor is like, Ted is like, "Hey, Doc, my wife's having trouble sleeping. Can you come give her something to put her out?"
She went immediately to sleep.
She was asleep when he made that call.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Anyways, plot-wise, it has to happen that way because when Dr. Cummins comes in, he like gives her a shot, and then he just starts kissing her on the face and the neck in the grossest way.
Yeah.
And then he bites her.
And at that moment, you know who he looks like? He looks a lot like Bela Lugosi.
Yes.
His hair and everything like that.
Yet another connection to a horror movie.
Absolutely.
So now we've got Halloween, we've got Frankenstein, we've got the original Dracula.
Sure. One of the guys a little bit later on looks a lot like Nosferatu from the side a little bit. Yeah.
It's funny that you say Nosferatu because I was actually thinking he looked like Tor Johnson from Plan 9 from Outer Space. The wrestler guy.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Straight on, he looks like Tor Johnson, absolutely. Yeah. But from the side, the way they lit it, he was kind of like stalking and it was really
Nosferatu,
good.
spindly fingery kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
I totally see what you're getting at.
Totally,
It's a little bit of both.
Yep.
One of the big questions I had was I was just so confused about time of day throughout the whole entire goddamn thing. Half the time, it would be like a night shot, and then it would go cut straight to a day and cut straight to night, yet it was all supposed to be the same moment, basically.
Ted actually calls the doctor while it is like noon. It looks that bright out. And then the doctor gets that message when it's pitch black out. That's after the mother has seen the kid at the garbage can, and so it is dark out.
Yes, yeah.
And then he's like, "Cancel the rest of my appointments." What do you
have?
For
this evening? Well, also, Alucard is already out trying to get another body that night. Like, it is nighttime.
Yeah.
So it presupposes that it's like... I mean, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's a place where it gets dark early, and it's like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's fall or something.
But it is that weird thing where it's like, well, then, I mean, how many appointments do you have in the evening?
Yeah.
At this late at night.
In a tiny town like this. Yeah,
and then also, where are you going? Where is everyone going? Where the fuck is the entire town? Well, you know what? We won't even go there.
Yeah. I think they could only afford 5 extras.
Yeah. Then they basically, long story short, too late. For whatever reason, the sheriff and Alucard get into a fight.
Well, because... are you calling him Al? Lucard?
Lucard.
Anyway.
I don't know why I said Alucard.
Alucard.
I was looking up my notes, and I have A. Lucard.
Yes.
Alucard.
Alucard. He, for some reason, and this does not play out, but he is very adamant that the guy or the boy that they brought in that almost drowned, that they were going to feed on that night, he wanted him for some reason, and he sits with the body.
Well, he's hungry.
He's hungry, but I don't know. I feel like in a better movie, there would be another secondary motive.
No,
you know?
What they didn't explain well, but what I think happens is it's not that they all drink the blood to get food. It's one person per body. So
no, I know.
So it's just the boy who almost drowned. It's just Lucard's turn.
I had just thought that Lucard had some sort of fixation on that boy.
No, it's just literally his turn.
But
It'd
he says, Coppola says, it's not your turn either, doesn't he?
I don't remember that.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
That's why I thought that Lucard had some sort of other fixation on the boy.
Maybe I just missed that. I just thought it was like you took the last piece of pizza last time. It's my turn for the last piece.
Well, it was one of their 16 times. I don't know.
They got into that awesome fight.
Yeah.
Lucard and Coppola.
and
Dracula.
Oh, I loved that fight because every bit of fighting in this was pulling punches.
Yeah.
Which is just so fun to watch people try to stage fight when no one has experience in it.
Yeah.
And also,
delightful.
My favorite part of that is the POV shots where an arm is being punched across and the head is just racking back and forth.
Yeah. So that fight was really awkward and awesome.
Yeah. And then he skewers him with a flagpole?
Flagpole, maybe?
Something like that.
Well, this is what I didn't understand, because... Can you please explain this moment, because I have a question for you.
Okay. So Lucard takes the flagpole and from across the room skewers it into Coppola's chest.
Yep.
And he is pinned to the wall, appearing dead. But then... Lucard goes into another room, which required another set, picks up a stake, comes back in, and stakes him in the heart again, or chest again, which... Go ahead.
Well, that was my whole question. It's like, I don't know why that first stake didn't kill him.
Right. Why?
I mean, I understand that, with a vampire, you have to stab somebody through the heart, blah, 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 blah. Great. No, got it. Got that part. I understand the mechanics of it. I don't understand why the filmmakers didn't choose...
To make that the killing blow.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That was the funniest thing, is I said to Nick, well, no, maybe he missed the heart, and so he has to do that. And Nick says, but this movie has writers.
Yeah.
It was written.
It was written.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
It was a written moment.
What?
What are you talking about?
Also... This played with a lot of different expectations, I would say, when the mother is turned and it appears that they're not going to be able to
get her back
to stake her. I leaned over to Nick and said, what do you want to say her body count's going to be?
I guessed 3 because at that point we'd only met really 3 non-vampire people.
Yeah. I wanted 5. That is what I would think if this was a proper or typical big budget sort of... Yeah, it would be like a couple of the neighbor kids, the kid taking out the garbage. She would be stalking a bunch of people in the neighborhood. I don't know why she didn't have as much consciousness as the other vampires.
No, and maybe it's
not
the
sure.
thing that consciousness comes eventually, but...
Possibly, yeah. But she seemed more like a zombie.
Yeah, she really did.
Yeah.
And her actual body count is what?
1.
1.
Uno vampiro.
Yep, she kills one of the vampire
kills Tor,
henchmen.
right?
Yeah, she kills Tor.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So she wasn't even that threatening as a character, and I don't understand then if...
She was kind of just a MacGuffin.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is it didn't actually matter that she was out. They could have easily just, waited for her to wake up.
Yeah.
If vampires are that passive, you just wait for the lady to wake up. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you just go get her then.
And then you just slowly walk after her with a stake.
With a stake. Oh, man. One thing that was really interesting about going back to when Lucard killed Coppola, and it's something that it was really after I noticed that all the sets in the doctor's office were fake like that.
Yes.
Something that really struck me was the lack of art decoration in the built sets, because the home felt a little homish.
Lived
and,
in,
there were things
had tchotchkes and different stuff. Yeah,
things that were practical felt a little more real, but those places that weren't practical looked ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I could understand it if it was in... I mean, the operating room doesn't have to have that much
No.
to it, but the offices and the...
Well, and like the funeral, because where the sheriff, Coppola, eventually gets it.
Yeah.
It's like I was gonna say showroom. It's not the showroom. That is terrible.
The wreath room and the...
Well, it looked to me like that's where the funeral would be.
Like the place for the wake.
Yeah. The chapel.
Sure.
The funeral the parlor. That's actually the word I'm looking for.
There
it's
you
the funeral
go.
Parlor.
Okay.
Woo! We got there, ladies and gentlemen. We got there. Oh boy.
So what they do is they realize that Dr. Acula has bitten Marie.
Yes.
And not staked her.
Again.
They are really bad at this, at least with this family. And they're like, okay, we got to go get her. And then it's a bunch of them running up, finding that she's not there anymore.
In the house.
Then being like, wait, where could she be?
Well, actually,
and then there's the chase.
Before this, yes, the
right?
chase. But I was going to say, actually, before this, which we forgot to mention, was that for whatever reason, when Dr. Cummings was coming over to give the medicine to Marie, Ted Fonda was starting to follow Lucard. And while Dr. Cummings was giving the medicine to Marie, Tor and Dr. Lucard found
the mother,
which at that point, Ted Fonda saw the mother and realized that, oh fuck, she's a vampire.
Yep.
They kill the mother, not Ted, but Lucard.
Yeah, the vampires hold her down in the sunlight, and she doesn't have the special makeup on, so she dies, burns.
Whatever.
She doesn't. They don't really have any effect for it.
At that point, Ted goes straight home, finds that Marie has been bitten, has one of those all
is lost
moments.
Yes.
Yet again, you said, he is my least favorite actor.
Yeah.
Which made me chuckle every time you said it.
Yeah. So then he takes the body, or I guess she's slowly turning into a vampire.
And into the car and starts
drives away. They follow...
Lucard and Cummins.
Right. They follow in their hearse, and then they lose him. And this was...
Oh, SpaghettiOs.
Oh, my God. They...
Started with a car race.
Have to turn back around.
It ends with a car chase.
In your face.
All over the place.
Then they turn around. They're like, you know what? I bet you Coppola has their home address.
Their
which
real
I was like,
home address.
Holy shit. Why don't you just know that so that it shortens the runtime?
Yeah.
But they go all the way back. They have to pick him up off of the wall.
Just one leg.
Just one leg.
Dr. Cummins picks up Coppola's leg. Cause
get his notepad.
Because Lucard is trying to get the notepad, and he's like, help me, he's heavy and laying against it.
Oh, my God.
Which I laughed a lot. That was really funny.
And as much as we're spewing out the dialogue here and there, they did not burden the last maybe hour with much dialogue.
No, very little.
It was...
sparse at best.
Yes. And most of that was really, really long chase scenes where, as much as the first one was shot well...
really, the rest of them.
2-lane blacktop type thing was really great. The rest of it did feel like it was padding runtime.
Yeah.
It was like, we gotta make it to 1:30.
Yeah.
We gotta do it.
And they're still 5 minutes short of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's happened now is that Ted Fonda is like, fuck this, I'm setting a trap. He gasolines...
his car and his wife. She's laying in the front seat.
He takes a broken light bulb, sets it on the front seat, and covers that with gas.
And connects it to a car battery. And we both said at the exact same time, oh, he's home aloneing it.
Yep. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Eventually, Lucard and the doctor come in. They go over to the car. They look inside. Lucard sees the light bulb, and he's like, ugh! Yeah. At that point... Fonda hits...
It's like the huge spoiler alert for Breaking Bad. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen Breaking Bad.
It's like when Gus Fring hears the ding of the bell. And that's all I'll say. Yeah, and that's actually what happens is the fireball hits both of them. And this was actually kind of a cool moment.
Because the thing I appreciate there's a couple things I appreciated in that moment. One was the fact that I think in a lot of modern movies, it would have been a thing where, like, because we actually see him being Ted Fonda, put, like, the other side of the battery thing to the thing so the charge happens.
Yeah.
And I think the bad version of that would be like you put the thing on there and it takes time for the wire, like almost like a fuse.
Okay,
and then it explodes.
Yeah.
What I thought was really cool about this is it was literally like
Click.
touch, boom.
Yeah. Well, and I know that this is very much the budget restraint, but I think I liked that it didn't explode. Like the car didn't like.
It was
just
a proper explosion for gas.
Yes. That's right. Yeah, it burst and it set them on fire, but it wasn't like a Fast and the Furious or a Die Hard explosion.
Or any movie where the car lands off the cliff. You know what I just fucking realized?
What's that?
So, this car that exploded here in this scene, one of the things I was thinking early on in that first scene was there was a car that was all burnt out. I bet you money that it was the same car.
They just shot it out of order. Interesting.
I bet you money that's exactly what happened.
I can believe that.
They destroyed one car instead of two.
That's fascinating.
That's,
conservative. Yeah. They're fiscally conservative. Yep. I like it.
They were libertarians.
So somehow, and there's not enough explanation for me. I mean, not to say that this movie is anywhere near a masterpiece, but they do not explain enough that Ted has put together the fact that they are vampires.
I mean, I'll buy it in the fact that his mother-in-law looked at him and went... big fangs. They held her down and she completely burned in the sunlight.
Sure.
And then his wife had a bite mark. I think
so. That begs the question, do vampire movies exist in his world?
Great question.
Because you know how in zombie movies zombies have never existed before typically?
You
know, where it's like, oh no, what do we do? And then
what
they
are
just
these things?
happen to
Destroy
discover
the brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Great question.
But the fact that he never figures out that stabbing them through the heart, he never witnesses that.
I think in this thing, vampires have to exist in lore.
Right. So, therefore, he comes over to Dr. Acula, stabs him in the chest, and then in a really cool shot, Lucard is laying on the ground burning, and from behind the fire and the smoke, Ted walks out, and in one shot comes up to Lucard, stabs him, and then walks away. Starts walking.
Which both AJ and I laughed in that there was a little bit of like all right, I'm going to drive. Fuck the car. God damn it. Now I have to walk through this field all the way somewhere.
And they're burning, so I can't steal their keys.
Shit.
Damn it. Did not think this through.
And as Fonda is walking away, all of a sudden, it frames.
This is my favorite part.
Stops. And it's like, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, Ted Fonda was found guilty of the murder of 4 people. He could never convince
anybody that they were vampires. Also, his wife's body has never been found.
And also his wife's body has never been found.
Ooh.
So I am actually going to say, I'm going to throw this out there. This is another connection to a horror movie.
Oh.
Down to the font. And I will also say it has a canon connection as well.
Go for it.
Can you guess?
No, go ahead.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
It has the same pseudo ending as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Holy shit.
Where it comes up and it's the same exact... I'm pretty sure it's the same font even.
That's interesting. I would have to put them side by side.
And it's the same burnt umber color screen.
Yes,
kind of a thing. It's like that, like desert orange or what. I'm just making up colors now,
no,
you know what I mean.
That's probably something.
Yeah. And that's how it ends.
And that's it.
That's it. Credits.
Fantastic.
You know, it probably sounds like we were making fun of this movie a little bit. And in a little bit we were, but I gotta be honest, like, that hour and 25 minutes...
It flew by.
It really flew by. Even with all the padding, I was like... I was in.
Yeah. There were only a couple of times where I checked out when it was that back and forth at the very beginning. Yeah. I just couldn't... I was like... Jesus, where is the Dowager Countess? Like, why aren't they sending notes by pigeon or something like that? Yeah. But yes, otherwise, it did have a streamlined and cohesive plot.
Yeah.
I got it.
I was totally in. And again, flew by. Mm-hmm. Do we want to talk about what's canon about this movie? Because I think, I mean, like, in some ways... Mm-hmm. You go first.
Well, something that I would love to steal, if that's where we're at, as well.
Totally. It's all fair game.
Something
now.
That we didn't talk about at the very beginning, when Lucard came and had Marie sign the papers to take away her mother, there was this amazing shot where the doctor and Lucard were on either side of a desk, and Lucard was leaning over to sign it. And as he stood up again and then moved to the side, Marie was in the background in a chair, and she had her face in her hands, and then she looked up when she was ready to sign. She got up, came to the desk, signed it, and then turned back around and sat back down. It was a beautiful one-shot.
Yeah, it was nicely composed.
There are some skill in this cinematography.
Absolutely.
I loved it.
Yeah, going along the same lines, like, that car crash was awesome in the beginning. Like, I thought it was really well filmed for what it was.
For what they had.
One of the things that I wrote down is, like, this would sound really condescending, and I don't actually mean it, but, like, there's, like, a little bit of, like, a plucky daring do of, like, a no-budget filmmaking.
Yes.
That it was very clear that there was some talent behind this. Was it perfect?
No.
No. But I think this is the kind of movie, going back to what excites me so much about doing this exact podcast.
Yeah.
Is... I would have never watched this movie. Absolutely. I would have never heard this movie. I probably would have watched the first 10 minutes. Well, I don't know. I like to watch movies like this, so I probably would have sat through the whole thing no matter what.
The quality be damned.
Quality be damned. But that is an interesting thing of, like, as somebody who is interested in making films, who doesn't have billions of dollars or millions of dollars, watching that car accident was like, oh, fuck. I could do that.
Yeah.
And it could look good. Oh, shit. I could do that cool shot.
Yeah.
I actually thought the premise of this, like, just the idea of there's a town where all of, like, the quote-unquote leaders / elders are vampires, and in order to not just go on, like, a random killing spree, took people who were nearly dead and drank their blood, and that's how they lived.
Yeah.
It's kind of a genius premise.
I think if they focused more on that, I think that would have been cool. I think the fact that they lost somebody is a great wrinkle, and you follow that as well. But I think that it sort of frayed at the end. I think there were too many little pieces, especially with the breakdown of the alliance between all of them, which kind of was unwarranted.
Well, not only was it unwarranted, but I just wasn't exactly sure. Like, this goes back to, and it's similar to the same kind of problem we had with Bridge to Hell, where the one thing that I wish is we had just a little more establishing of the relationships, who was in charge. I mean, obviously Lucard was in charge.
Yeah.
But then, like, what is the order coming down from there? Have they all been vampires for 400 years?
Sure.
Or is Lucard a 1,000-year-old vampire who turned the sheriff 7 months ago?
Yeah,
like little questions like that, I think would have been really great to answer.
Yeah, I think you could make this into an hour 45 movie
easily.
and
do
put
like,
that all in.
Like a proper. I think you can make a proper horror comedy out of this.
Totally.
Where it's both funny but also has true elements of scary. You know what it could be is like a Fright Night.
Yes.
It could totally be like
almost
a Fright Night.
A Fright Night mixed with a Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. With that whole, like, these are the people in charge and this is how. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But with more elements of actual scares.
Sure.
I mean, I'll throw that out there too.
The slowdowns always came from the mother, and it didn't have a payoff, sadly.
Yeah, if she was actually scary, I think that could have been cool.
Yeah, because there was never any reason to be frightened.
Exactly. Yeah. But overall, I gotta say, it's one of those movies if somebody said, well, let me ask you this question. Would you recommend this movie?
I think I might.
Yeah.
You know what I would recommend it for is, like, if you were going to have a couple of Dracula movies to watch, vampire movies to watch in a night, throw it in.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it like an old one, the example of an 80s one. This absolutely epitomizes an 80s vampire movie.
Low budget movie.
Yeah. No, that would be fun. It would make a good addition.
I also think I would throw in there too, like, if a friend was gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna make a film for, like, no budget, like a micro budget film.
Yeah.
This would be definitely one of those things where I'd be like, you know what you need to see?
Study it.
Watch Dracula's Last Rites, because it has things that you can like use that are really inspiring.
Interesting establishing shots. I think that there was a lot of different good low shots.
Totally.
Just some great mechanics to it.
Exactly. But then on the flip side, also there's a lot of lessons you can learn of like, this is what you do not do.
Especially with dialogue and with direction.
Getting lights in your shot.
Yeah,
things like that.
Definitely.
I thought this was interesting too. First of all, the tagline is, terror begins at the edge of the grave.
Yeah.
This was 1980. This was released in March 1980. Golan and Globus took over Cannon Films in sometime in 79.
79, yeah.
So
this was one of their first forays.
Well, this is definitely a purchased movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This was not made by Golan and Globus. But the other thing that I was wondering, and it's not quite clear, I tried to look it up when this was made, because I'm also curious if this is a movie that came with Cannon Films when Golan and Globus bought it.
Yeah.
Rather than Golan and Globus purchasing
actively
this
themselves. Yeah, it was like in the works already, maybe.
Yeah, it was sort of like, Dark Phoenix when Disney bought Fox.
Yeah.
Where it already existed, and now we have to release it.
Yeah.
Because why not? I'm curious if that's where this sort of fell, because I do feel like it missed some of Golan and Globus's. This just didn't feel like a Cannon film in that sense of what a Cannon film is.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. There were boobies in it, though.
Kinda.
I know. It wouldn't have been sexy enough for them.
Yeah, and I also think if they had a lot of fingers in the pot of like, I think they would have done a lot of cutting. They would have moved a little bit faster.
I mean, they would have ended up with a 55-minute movie.
Well, that's the thing.
If they cut it down to the Golan and Globus.
Well, and I think that's exactly the thing, is like...
standards.
It didn't have... They probably didn't have enough film to do that.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck it, let's just release it anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's free on Prime, man, and it's only an hour and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in watching movies, this is such a perfect... If you're interested in movie making, anything like that, I think this is just a great case study.
And do not be fooled by the cover that is on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
It is just
It's a Cinema
palm
Classics.
Tree. Yeah, it's a palm tree with Cinema Classics on it.
And
it's very confusing.
Desert releasing something or other.
Something, yeah. I don't know why it is, but...
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a Cinema Classic. I would call it an old movie. And it's one of those
just
things
because it's older than 30 years doesn't make it a
classic.
Yeah.
But you're a classic, AJ.
Oh, stop it.
Aw.
Don't tell them.
But I would say, again, like going back to would you recommend the thing of like, with the caveat of like, it's not a great movie.
No, and you don't have to clean your glasses. Yeah. It is that blurry.
Yeah. But, again, the kind of thing I'm so happy that this podcast exists.
Yeah.
Where hopefully someone else can enjoy this movie.
I hope so.
But if no one else, at least
we
found this movie.
Yeah.
So, we should try to reach out to Domonic Paris.
Yeah, we should. That would be really cool.
He seems like the kind of perfect guest that we would love to have.
Yeah, and I think he would love to talk about this.
I hope so.
I mean, yeah.
Especially because I think most people who would want to talk to him about this movie would probably be like, you're dumb. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are assholes.
That would be a horrible forum to ask him on to.
But,
excuse me, first question, you're dumb.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, I hate to say this, but I'm a fucking fan of this movie.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Last Rites.
Absolutely.
Dracula's Last Rites.
Also, can we go down the list of the people that acted in this?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. How about Marie, played by Patricia Lee Hammond?
You mean like one of the lead actors of the film?
Correct.
Never in anything else ever again.
Okay. How about Lucard, played by Gerald Fielding?
You mean one of the leads of the film?
Yeah.
Never in another movie.
Oh, Dr. Cummings, played by Victor Yorg?
Never in another movie.
Oh, how about Coppola, played by Alfred Steinell?
Yeah. Oh!
Yeah.
He was never in another movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
How about Mrs. Bradley, played by Mimi Waddell?
Oh, she was in a few movies.
Okay.
Including Student Bodies.
All right.
A classic horror film.
Sure.
The Purple Rose of Cairo, which...
That's pretty famous.
Yeah. And Hitch.
Wait.
Kevin James star.
Oh, God, I love him in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else was in that was famous.
I don't think so.
It was Mimi and
Kevin.
Yep. And finally, what about Ted, our main attraction?
You mean played by Michael David
Lowy?
Michael David Lowy?
Yes.
Yeah, he was in a couple of things, too.
Okay.
Including The Nesting.
Ooh.
Another horror film.
Yeah.
White Fang.
Oh.
And Basic Instinct.
Oh.
Yeah. To be fair, when I say that Mimi and Michael David were in these other movies,
Yeah.
they were not, like...
Top build.
In them.
Yeah.
They appeared in them.
So they got some pretty hard hitters for this movie, huh?
Yeah, totally.
Well, good for them all.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Draculas are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I know we've said it like 40 times. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Neat.
And you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take that away from steaks.
I can stake you in the heart, though.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Earlier,
yes,
you had mentioned something about reading the synopsis.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, we should pause.
At the end seems like the perfect time.
Yeah.
All right.
I think this is pretty great.
I absolutely love this.
This is the official synopsis, by the way, both on Amazon and on IMDb. I just want to be very clear about that.
We did not write this.
Official synopsis.
A small-town funeral director, doctor, and sheriff are vampires who suck blood from the recently not quite dead on the embalming table and then immediately kill the newly converted vampire.
That is one sentence.
Yep.
With no commas.
No. When one of their victims disappears before being staked, they are threatened with being exposed if the new vampire surfaces. And that's another sentence.
And then the last two, it's a sentence and a question.
Very low budget, period. Based on a true story, ? I am so sad that I read that, but I'm so glad I've experienced all of this. Oh my God. Well, there you go.
There you
go, folks.
Alrighty.
All right, Nick, my friend, what are we doing next week?
Next week, AJ,
Yes,
we are doing the 1971 Tygon Classic.
Oh.
I mean, this was back, before the Go-Go Boys days when Cannon was, just purchasing movies from other places. Tygon was a film company in England. They made another movie called The Blood on Satan's Claw, which we are not doing.
Aw.
This is a lot of preamble.
That's okay.
For me
Yes.
to
say
tell
what
you
okay
that
yeah
we are
what
gonna
yes
watch
exciting
a movie
bored
that
no more
you
done
can get on Amazon
Prime
sure for free.
That's
what the Prime is for.
Fantastic.
And the movie is The Beast in the Cellar.
Oh
yep,
sounds spooky.
It's a play
okay
on words.
It's a joke.
We'll find out.
The Beast in the Cellar is a pun on something?
We'll find out.
All right, we'll see.
We'll just you'll have to watch it to know.
Excellent. Next week on Creating Canon. All right, Nick, where can people follow you?
You can find me on Twitter.
Okay.
At Nicholas C. Pappas.
Wonderful.
Website is nicholascpappas.com.
Neat.
It's like, on the web where you could, just buy any website you want.
Yeah.
I bought that one.
Like on the AOL.com? Or like Alta Vista, man? Is that where you... Is that the internet?
I will widowy kick you in the face.
And you can follow me at the AJ Hamilton. Hamilton is spelled the way the play is spelled. And you can follow us at Creating Canon. That's CANNON. And you can email us with any questions, comments, concerns, guesses as to what the next movie is going to be at creatingcanon@gmail.com. And please follow, subscribe, like, review, anything. Rate us. Exactly. Am I a 10? Am I? Come on, you can be honest. What about Nick?
Yes.
Thank you. And we will see you next time. And as we always say...
Very low budget.
Based on a true story. Good night and good cannon.
Stop.
Stop what?
Watch.
Nickel?
Did you just call me Nickel?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dime.
Thank you. I am a 10. Well,
that was so good. I can't even I was genuinely impressed. Fucker. You look so deep in thought right now.
Yeah, I am.
Are you having an existential crisis?
No, I'm not.
Are you trying to figure out how to Dracula up my name?
Maybe.
The little boy blew the moon.
Oh. And Nosferatu Constante. Nope. Damn it.